Okay, this is almost such an enormous topic, it's almost impossible where to start. Countless people were extremely interested in my quick little 2-minute sweep of Best Buy talking about hard drives. I guarantee you I know even more about hard drives than I know about lenses, and I know a tremendous amount about lenses. I own well over 200 of them, and I've taken hundreds of them apart. I've got dead hard drives laying all over the place. Basically, there are only a few hard drive manufacturers in the world now. LaCie and like Porsche and many others are actually rebrands of Seagate drives. There's actually nothing wrong with some Seagate drives. There's an enormous list of huge mistakes people make when it comes to discussing hard drives. They think, well, this brand's best, and that's true. But that's ultimately like talking about, what's the best cut of meat. If you lay them out on the table, they're all going to start to rot and, sprout maggots. Ferromagnetic depolarization, no matter how good the hard drive, if you take the very best hard drive that money can buy, like this Western Digital Black, you buy it new and it's absolutely perfect without any flaws. You write a tremendous amount of data to it, you stick it in the safe. Ferromagnetic depolarization is nature's way of wiping out magnetism. I mean, there's no way for you to avoid it. It's absolutely impossible. Here's a Western Digital Black. This is actually a 3 terabyter. Cost per data, whether it's some of the smaller hard drives like this, like the Toshibas and Hitachis, which I recommend buying. Try to avoid Seagates if at all possible. Are going to run you between $55 and $60 per terabyte. The difference between the best, cheapest, and the absolute best is basically $6 per terabyte. Depends on what terabyte you buy them in, or also who you buy them from. But like the Western Digital Blacks right now, like for a 2 terabyte or a 3.5 inch, which this is, will run you about $130. So basically $60, $65 per terabyte. Got quite a few of these, a 3.5 inch drive. By the way, this is your hard drive controller board right here. Don't want to inflict any electrostatic shock to. A lot of people are actually afraid of handling naked hard drives, and it's no big deal. I got hundreds and hundreds of naked hard drives. By naked, I mean there's no enclosure. The only reason that you should actually buy an enclosed hard drive is if it's going to sit, like I've got a hard drive actually industrial Velcro to the back of this iMac for external data. Actually, the hard drive that's actually Velcroed back there is the one that I told you in a prior video never to ever buy, and you don't. I got that one for free. It's one of those stupid rugged hard drives, of which is a complete and total waste of money. You just want to avoid electrostatic shock to the pin set and the hard drive controller board of your hard drive. Other than that, it's no big deal. Don't have them running face down on a table. Put them don't have them laying a hard drive controller down on a table when you actually have power hooked to them. Always lay them like this with a hard drive controller up. If you have a SATA bridge connector to it. This is actually a hard drive dock, and I have links for all this stuff below, so if you look below, you'll see the links for everything. This is a hard drive dock. This is a single one. This is one I recommend. They go by a few different names. It's USpeed or Anchor Direct. This is also the same people that make the SATA bridge. I'll talk about SATA bridges in a second. My most popular video out of 3,200 videos is how to recover your data off of a dead hard drive, which you think is dead, but it really isn't. It's kind of the easiest analogy to talk about what a SATA bridge is it's like the wheels on a car. It's like if someone were to think, well, my wheels are bad and my car has failed. I got like 4 flat tires and we're just going to throw the car away. Obviously, that's not the case. The car is fine, just needs a new set of tires. The same is true of external hard drives. However, now a lot of them are going to integrating this particular part, which is the SATA bridge, which is basically like the wheels of your car. It's connected to an external hard drive. They've gone to incorporating that, especially in Western Digitals, which is why I do not recommend ever buying Western Digital external hard drives. Incorporating that into the hard drive controller. Don't recommend buying that. What is actually in your external hard drive, now this is a super slim, but the same principle. The hard drive controller is actually incorporated in on this one, which is a ultra thin Toshiba. But a lot of the larger hard drives, the actual hard drive controller board, especially all the 3.5 inches, that's the good news too. All the 3.5 inch hard drives, this is a 2.5 inch hard drive, The Western Digital black that I just got done showing you is a 3.5-inch hard drive. All the external 3.5-inch hard drives have removable. You just crack open that plastic shell like an oyster and you remove this specific part. There are various shapes and sizes. This one actually has a plastic enclosure because it's meant to actually operate naked hard drives, as opposed to this like hard drive dock, which actually has a USB 3 connector which hooks to the back of your computer, and also power. Now the 3.5-inch drives do not require power. They do on a dock, but they don't with a SATA bridge. This is a SATA bridge. This is the bus membrane between the actual hard drive itself, the hard drive controller, and the data on your platters. These actually get the phantom power off of your USB connector on your computer. The 3.5-inch ones actually require power, which is why, like this is a 3.5-inch SATA connector. Don't recommend this for most people because this leaves your hard drive vulnerable. You would actually need to use this power adapter with a 3.5-inch hard drive to bring power to your 3.5-inch hard drive to actually feed information from the hard drive to your computer. It'll come in the USB cable. This particular one has just a USB connector and a power cable. What you do is you take your naked hard drives, and you actually see there's a slot here for 2.5-inch hard drives, and if you actually press the gate open, it's a slot for a 3.5-inch hard drive. So it takes either one. You just bring it in flat like that, turn the power on, and it's just like having a hard drive, external hard drive hooked up. I buy these for several reasons. A, they're cheaper. B, they're more reliable, and there's not this effing bleeping crap shit part to fail on you. This part is also in here, but now it's actually incorporated in the Super Slims. Anytime you buy a Super Slim, whether it's a 2 terabyte Super Slim or a 1 terabyte, or this is a 500 gig Super Slim, this particular part, point of failure, is now incorporated into the hard drive controller board. I showed you what the hard drive controller board was right here. Here we go. That's why I actually prefer the naked hard drives and also the 3.5 inchers. Of course, these are rather large and bulky. I mean, they are a little bit more reliable. However, I also don't recommend you buying anything above the 4 terabyte drives. And the reason for that is there's so many platters in there, the actual inertia to start those causes premature death in years. They usually fail at a rate at what appears to be, since they only basically just came out about a couple of years ago. The failure rate on those is almost double of a conventional hard drive. So the rule of thumb is don't buy a 3.5-inch hard drive above 4 terabytes. It's basically like saying if you got a huge freaking bus and it's got the same motor, the same brakes as like a little Volkswagen. Say you take the brakes off of a Volkswagen and you stick it on a huge-ass school bus. Obviously, that huge-ass school bus takes a lot more to brake and start. Anyway, the motor actually fails. There's actually the motor for the spindle. I'll actually show you a naked hard drive over here because I've got hundreds of hard drives, most of which I've thrown away because I've extracted the neodymium iron boron magnets off of it. It's right underneath the controller board here. It's actually the motor to drive the platters. Here's your armature, here's your voice coil, and here's your 2 neodymium magnets. However, remove the top one off of here. Head crash, like if you drop the hard drive or actually bump it while it's moving, it's the same issue you have with, well, you don't have that issue anymore with laptops because everything's gone to solid state drives, but bumping it causes head crash. If you actually knew how a hard drive operated, and there's a neat little video online as far as the air cushion, that head actually floats above the platters, you'd be incredibly shocked. A lot of this stuff is somewhat irrelevant information. By the way, I wrote an article for Apple. If you read it, it's called Methodology to Protect Your Data. I recommend you read this extremely detailed art. I rewrote this effing article for Apple, and it's still on Apple's website because there it is right there right now. Got lots of interesting charts and graphs. I wrote this for Apple many years ago. It's still there. I rewrote this article like 80 times. Revisions, simplifications, so this has been redone over 80 times. Like when you rewrite something over 80 times, oh yeah, extremely accurate. If you read that article, you will know more than 99.99999% of computer experts as far as data protection methodology. The one thing that you need to understand, and I used to deal with these people all the time, is that they think their data is safe. It's like, well, I got a brand new hard drive, I'm going to transfer everything over. There's infant mortality that actually exists on hard drives. It's the same thing with like little children. You know, little children, if they make it past a couple years, then it's extremely likely they're going to live to adulthood, barring any tragedy. There usually is a period there where they have to make it through a certain time frame, where if there's any slight little flaw or anything's off kilter in the makeup of the hard drive, it's called infant mortality, hard drive infant mortality. And that's the same reason that people give these anecdotal bullshit comments when you look at a hard drive. It's like, I better not buy that hard drive. This guy bought a new one and it only lasted him a few months. All the hard drives are like that. All hard drives suffer infant mortality. There's only one word to know when it comes to data protection. That's redundancy, redundancy, redundancy. Everything is fucking redundancy. Redundancy is God. If you think your data is safe off your computer on a really expensive hard drive, you're delusional. 4 copies minimum. Also, people don't know the difference between, they think the data on their computer counts. Number one, this is the biggest important statement you should really understand. If you think your computer is a data storage device, you're a delusional idiot. Sorry for me saying that. You're a delusional idiot. The data that is on your computer does not count. Your computer is not a data storage. Well, sure it is. It's got a hard drive or solid state drive in there. Of course it's a data storage. No. Your computer is not a data storage device. It is a working platform. That is like me saying, this is my desk. This is where I do crap. Well, do you have filing cabinets on your desk, full of tons and tons of it? No. This is where I do shit. I move stuff around, I create stuff, I mess with stuff. The filing cabinets are over there. A lot of people think that where they work, which is their computer, is also where they store all their tons of data. This is why when a professional has a hard drive crash, it's like, who gives a shit? I've got 4 copies of it off the computer, and I also have hard drive clones. Most important thing a lot of people forget is they don't understand that they need to make perpetual dual running backups of their hard drive. If you got a system crash, you can just reboot everything or copy everything to the new hard drive or solid state drive that drops in your computer. All your stuff, all your emails, absolutely everything remains the same, remains constant. Don't have anything to worry about. I've got stuff I've been working on for 20 years. I'd rather slit my own throat than have, just like a couple copies. Some of my really important stuff, I've got like 20 copies of that, and I got it on server farms in various countries. I've got the really, really, really important. This is another thing, too. People say this to me all the time. They're so stupid about it. They think, optical is dead. No, it isn't. The Army and the CIA and various other people, including Facebook, has countless millions now invested into archival optical. Every form of magnetic storage is highly corruptible under the absolute best circumstances. If you make like 10 copies of it and throw it in your safe and lock it away for 20 years, 6-7 years later it's going to be gone or highly degraded. There is tape backup, so don't even mention tape backup shit to me. That stuff does last longer, but it is for multi-million-dollar company. Yes, tape backup is still a thing for long-term cold storage of data, but we're talking about serious, hardcore, like Daddy Warbucks kind of money. So don't anybody mention tape backup shit to me, because I'm pretty sure you are not a multi-billion-dollar or multi-million-dollar company that is investing in huge, enormous tape backup systems for archival data. That's not the route to go for you and me and Joe Blow and Sally Sue. The very, very most important data actually has to go onto archival optical. And I'm not talking about like everything you make or all your pictures, but like the stuff that you absolutely must acknowledge. There's just no way in hell this data could ever be lost, period. It is so important. That's the shit that needs to go on an optical. You need to buy some archival DVDs. They run you 100 discs will run you about $50 depending on which ones they are. Okay, M-disc is a century disc. It has a mineral layer in it. It's basically guaranteed to last 1,000 years. Not that you're going to be around 1,000 years to see it, but that's really important. Obviously, I do have conventional hard drives like this, which I pack around with my laptop. No big deal. I'm not taking naked hard drives with me around with my laptop. That's what you don't understand. Oh, by the way, these little cases, they're like $4 a piece. I've got a link below for these. These hold a twin set of 3.5-inch hard drives. I recommend Toshiba and Hitachi. I've got the Toshiba and Hitachi hard drives that I recommend below in the links. People say, well, what about 5,400 RPM versus 7,200 RPM? Unless I'm writing a crap load of data, I have found no discernible difference. Okay? If I'm dragging and dropping tons and tons and tons of gigabytes, I do notice a difference. Otherwise, I don't. So don't piss away your money on 7200 RPM conventional hard drives. Don't do it. And if you mention the solid state drives, you just, just shut the hell up and get out of here. I have a few people mention, you know how much solid state, I don't care how rich you are. Do you know how expensive solid state drives are? By the way, solid state drives undergo the exact same ferromagnetic depolarization. It's like people go, well, yeah, but solid state drive doesn't have any moving parts in it like all the shit on a regular hard drive. It's like, yeah, but who gives a shit? Because I'm not talking about all the points of failure on a conventional hard drive. I'm talking about ferromagnetic depolarization. That means when you put it on a brand new expensive hard drive or solid state drive, you stick it in a humidity and temperature controlled vault or whatever, the crap is going to self-destruct. It doesn't matter how good the hard drive is, they're all going to take a crap on themselves. Every single one. Here's Mr. Hard Drive. My goal in life is to shit on your data. You're going to lose everything. You're going to buy me. I'm real expensive. I'm going to put a bunch of data on me, and then you're going to lose all that data. I've had so many hundreds of people when I was doing tech support call me up. It's like, oh my God, I'm about to lose my job. I've got like all the company's data on... on this hard drive, and it's like, I'll make another video about recovery of data. I mean, those are horror stories. Horror stories. Actually, I'll talk about that later. That's actually something else. I need to go on to a second video. I mean, I can make like 30 videos on this topic. I have all the links below for my recommended hard drives, what to get, but just remember, no matter how good the hard drive is, it's all going to take a crap on itself, okay? That's, every single one. You see this? This is Mr. Pooh. I'm Mr. Pooh. I'm going to shit all over you. I bought this for $2. Isn't that cute? A big pile of poo, right? Someone's going to say, you look just like him. I know someone's going to say that. I know someone's going to say that. Anyway, every hard drive, no matter how expensive and how good, is this. Ferromagnetic depolarization. I've got hundreds of dead hard drives. Well, parts of them anyway. Most of them I've thrown away. I don't need hundreds of dead hard drives laying around. Or I extracted the data out of them. But anyway, I need to go on to another video, so follow on number 2, and we'll get on to the intricacies and the fine points of data protection methodology. Okay? Bye. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum.